I didn't wait until 60 to deconstruct that item, so I didn't get as far as I would have, but I still got to 48, which, you know, that's, yeah, can't really shake a stick at that. All right, so a little bit more about
Your aid is
um,
welcome, friend.
the relics. We haven't even talked about relics at all. When you deconstruct, you get relics. Now, what are they for? If I open my items, or open up my legendary item panel again, I can slot relics to an item, and they also have tiers. Imagine that. LOTRO loves tiers. So I could assign this item to, or this, excuse me, this relic to this legendary item by double clicking it. And I say yes, and now it's applied here. Now what this looks like, if I hover over it, at the very bottom, it says bronze setting of will, and it shows me that my I have plus 15 will, plus 404 physical mastery, so on and so forth. This only applies when you have it here, when you actually have it equipped. Just carrying it around in your pocket does nothing, just like everything else in the game. Um, so when you have all of these with something in it, obviously it's going to be a much more powerful item. For those of you who are veterans, you're probably wondering, well, why do you have this item and you don't have, you don't have any settings, you don't have any gems? The reason is I'm actually waiting to craft some better ones, like this one. The Wildermore Rune of Wisdom is something that you actually have to make, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now that I've showed you how to apply one, I'll also highlight that. Notice that the tier 1 bronze setting of wisdom, or of will, excuse me, is vastly less powerful with 15 will than a tier 4, which has 19, 477. And if I come up here, here's a tier 5 with 21 will, and then up here, here's a tier 9, also, it's the same one, just a higher tier. So it gives you 27 will, 598 physical and tactical mastery, as opposed to the 15 and 15 will and 400 physical mastery. So obviously, the higher the tier, the better the item. Or the better the relic. So how do you get higher tier relics? If you haven't if you haven't worked with this too much before, you might have about 1,000 tier ones. So in another video, I actually have I have a video uploaded as well showing you how to use a macro to ease this next process, because later on in the game it gets really annoying.
Welcome and well met, my friend.
I have here under relic forging, and again this is the relic master. Under relic forging I have a list of all of the possible tier 1 items, and it shows me all of the ones that I have. So I could choose which items I want to meld together, or forge if you will. And it's going to take, depending on the tier, it's going to take 3, 4, or 5 of these to combine them into a tier 2. So once I selected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like Sesame Street, I click combine, and it makes 1 or 2, and if you critical success, many more, it's going to make tier 2 items, or tier 2 relics. So from here I can switch over to my tier 2s, and I can see what they are. Okay. Now if I had enough, which I do not, the auto combine would show up, and it would allow me to actually I can show you. I think we got a bunch of tier 5s. There we go. If I don't want to take the time to say which items, which ones I want to get rid of, because they do go away, they're melded together. If I'm like, you know what, I'm going straight for a level 8, I don't even care how many level 5s I have, you can click auto combine and it'll just randomly pick them. Actually, I think it does the top first and then the bottom. There's actually some logic to it. So let's see, I have a bunch of tier 4s as well. I am going to pull up my macro here so. That. Great. I had a critical success, which gave me some shards as well. Shards we'll get to in a moment. Let's see if I can crit again. There we go. So I hit a critical success, which gives you more items, and it also gives you legendary, excuse me, it gives you shards, which show up down here. And we'll look at exactly why that's important in a moment. So I'm going to click close. There goes my tier 5. I don't think I have any 3s. I'm going backwards. Obviously, you should go 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5. 6. Auto combine. 7. Now for me, once I get to 8, I'm not going to auto combine. I don't have enough anyways, because I'm actually, I mentioned, specifically trying to make certain relics. Now to do this, I'm going to skip over the deconstruct. We don't need this anymore. I'm not tearing any more of my items apart for this video. And we're going to go to the melding. Click this guy to minimize everything. And what I'm aiming for are some of these Wildermore relics. I have Gems of Charity, for example, which what it does, what you're doing is you're going to take 3 items, or I keep saying items, 3 relics, and you're going to meld them together, just like we just were in the forging process, into one, but it's a lot better than what they were beforehand. And the idea is you're creating a vastly better relic, but it's going to cost you something. And what it's going to cost you is obviously the relics that you're creating this one out of, but it's also going to cost you shards. I have 5,200 shards. Each of these costs 7,488. If you don't have enough, notice that they are by type. If I don't have enough settings to create the one I want, I don't have enough settings to create any of those. I do have all of the gems available, and I don't think I have enough runes. Nope, I don't. I don't have the runes necessary to create these. What you can do is you can click Random Wildermore Relic, and it's just going to pick one of these randomly, and it's going to take 2 tier 9 relics and make them into one of these randomly. And you would click choose, and you'd go for it. Problem is, I don't have enough, which sounds like a huge pain, which obviously it is. But there is hope, because I can get more shards by refining. What this does is it takes one of my items, or one of my relics, and it's going to give me shards in return. So for a tier 1, it's going to give me 1 shard. Tier 2, select one, it's going to give me 3 shards. So notice it's going up in value. Skip up to tier 4, it's going to give me 32. Now, if I remember correctly, we did the math at one point, and I haven't checked if the updates have messed with this, but tier 5 is actually the magic number. It's the most lucrative in the way of shards, the shards you get back, as opposed to how many relics it costs to make a tier 6 relic. So, for example, a tier 6 relic costs 3 tier 5s. Okay, so I have tier 5, 3 tier 5 relics, auto combine, and it creates a tier 6. A tier 6, when I refine it, gives me 190 of these shards. However, and I just happen to know this off top, it's about 79 shards you get from a tier 5. So 237 shards as opposed to 190 shards. So for the price of those 3 tier 5s that went into this one tier 6, if I refine and completely destroy this relic, I'm only going to get 192, which is a bum deal. The higher level ones I haven't really looked at, I'll admit. For some reason it thinks I have a tier 7, but I don't see it. So what I'm going to do is I've just been spamming the yeah, make this, go for it, make this button, and I have a number of tier 9s that I'm not going to use. So the Elder Rune of Avoidance, for the sake of the video, I am going to refine and I am going to get 1,536. Okay, so that's how many shards I got. And I'm going to do this twice. Now I have 8,000 shards. Yes, if you're watching this as a higher level, this is a pricey video. I realize. I hope you appreciate it. Now I have enough to randomly create one, but I don't want to do that. I actually want to choose. I'm all about choice. I really want to. It's going to cost me the same amount of shards anyways, and it's going to take 2 of my tier 9 relics. Might as well toss in a 3rd relic and get something that's really going to be useful for me. So first off, you should know what item you're going to apply this to. I want to put it on my sword here, and I'm going to create a gem. And that's that. So let's look at the different gems I have available. Again, this sword is all about, for me, is all about damage and critical. So this gem of faith is going to give me 10% partial block, 6 plus 687 block rating, and might. Might's always a good thing as a captain. Tactical mitigation. I'm just looking through the options. Max power and tactical mastery. The Gem of Hope is going to give me critical defense, a bunch of max power and max morale, and those are my options. I want to go for the Gem of Faith because it helps me block more, and it gives me might, which makes me hit harder. So I just click meld. It's going to warn me, and then I say yes, and there it is. Okay. Notice I still have 2 left over. That's because I had 2 of those. And I come back over here, and I go to my gems, and there it is. It's there at the top. So I want to apply it to my sword. Double click. Nice. Now when I hover over my sword, or people inspect me, they will see the stats down at the bottom, and again, when I have this equipped, it will give me 32 might, some block rating, and partial block and parry mitigation, 10%, which is handy. And if I just want to fill this up right now because I can, with some other settings, for example, you can have 1 setting, 1 gem, and 1 rune, and a crafted. I don't have any crafted on me right now, but you actually make these, and through the whole crafting system, which obviously I'm not going to get to in this video. So I can wait and create and do the whole process again, build up my shards, and create a much better relic. But in the meantime, I can put one of these lesser awesome ones up there. At the moment, I'll do, just for kicks, I'll do a tier 2. So at least it's giving me 16 might. If I were to throw on the one of the higher ones, I could have like 27 will. Woohoo! Who cares? But there you go. So now I have relics slotted onto my item. There are scrolls that allow you to remove these, but I should highlight, and please, for those who stayed to the end of the video, you're going to be happy knowing this. When you deconstruct your legendary items, you don't get these back unless you actually pull them off with the scroll beforehand. They disappear. They're gone permanently. So this is why you'll notice with some of my other items, like this guy, it's just a buff stick. I'm never going to use this in battle, so it's really not that important for me when buffing other people. It's not important at all for me to have any settings, gems, runes, etc. This guy I use all the time. This is my class item, so I'll start building it up again. This one, I think, yeah, this one I'm using as a healing item. But at the end of the day, I probably won't put any relics on this because I don't want to have to go out and buy a scroll with points to remove my relics. So that's why I just threw a tier 1 on there, because I'm like, those are pretty easy to come by. Lastly, if I were to deconstruct, if I were to identify and immediately deconstruct a legendary item, I would only get one tier 1 relic from it, and that's it. So that's all you get. You don't get points to apply to anything else. However, I will say, if you get a bunch of items that are not for your class, say you get 10 items for, if I get 10 items for a hunter and a guardian, I can tear those apart. I can deconstruct them, and then I get 10 relics that then I can meld into 2 tier 2s, and so on and so forth. So they're not completely useless. I say give them to other people or sell them for gold. For gold. That's what this game's about. Anywho, this has been Bunbury, again from Brandywine. I hope this has been a useful video. Please send me questions or clarifications, corrections, etc. And we'll see you online soon.